seen it.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt with Shannon Salmon-Haas, San Antonio. Sorry, I got the order wrong on that. Shannon San Antonio Salmon-Haas. Find her on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Where else?
I'm on the YouTube, baby.
YouTube? Have you been posting on YouTube?
No, not really. Just like one or two. When I think they're good, I try to put them on YouTube.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Most of your stuff, all the bad stuff, is on Instagram.
Well, I'm trying to figure this stuff out. I mean, I'm not a...
I say just post it.
Yeah, I like your attitude, yeah.
Because I did that video of my dad at the Hard Rock Cafe.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that he needed a microphone.
It came out good, though. You fixed it a little.
I tried to lean in so that it would pick him up a little bit more, and then I used Adobe to brighten up the sound a little bit.
Yeah, it was good.
Thank you. But it wasn't perfect, so that's what I'm saying is I still posted it.
Yeah. No, I like your attitude.
I needed the content out there.
I listen to you a lot more than you realize, probably.
Okay.
'Cause, I'll hear your voice, just move on.
Oh, good.
You're very helpful.
I'm like your Jiminy Cricket.
Yes.
Of video making.
Yes, you are.
In this segment, we're going to talk about federal funding. Has your nonprofit been affected? Shannon and I have been debating this all week. I know it's just Wednesday, but it feels like we've been debating this for a whole week already.
Yeah.
I think that nonprofits have not been affected because their funding is only paused by the executive order and the memos or whatever. But Shannon believes that people have been affected.
Right.
So this is your soapbox. Get on it. Tell me what you know.
Okay. Well, nobody knows things for sure. This is all new and evolving every minute. But at the very least, can we agree that it's very reckless to stop things that people rely on? There's a certain way. You and I have been debating also whether there is waste in the government. Can I just concede the point that there is waste in the government? I mean, because that's a separate conversation. You can think that and not think that this is the way to address that problem.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even if it was just the memo and then it was rescinded 20 minutes later, you still create ripples where now you have donors that are feeling uneasy, recipients that don't know if they're going to get what they were coming to rely on. I know you have certain policy philosophies. People need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps or, whatever Reagan would say at this moment, I know would be what you would put on a T-shirt,
right.
So I respect you for that. We've always been able to still talk and respectfully disagree, But I think any reasonable person would have to say there's a way to do it. And this didn't appear to be the way because it just creates chaos. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I understand how things the government says can create uncertainty because that's what happens with the stock market too.
Right, yes.
And with taxes, if they say we're going to raise taxes, they don't even have to actually raise taxes to cause an effect in the market.
Right. So maybe it was a tactic. Maybe they're just, maybe the chainsaw was too heavy at the moment and they lost the grip or something. I don't know. I really have no idea.
Well, I have a surprise for you.
Tell me.
I did find
Tell me.
some news of people that said that they were actually affected by the federal funding freeze. And the New York Times put out I don't know if it was an actual news article in their paper or if they just did this online, asking for feedback from nonprofits. Please fill out this form. Tell us about your nonprofit and how you've been affected. And you actually suggested that 2 or 3 days ago that we do that. But we don't have time for that.
Okay.
The New York Times has a much bigger pool of people that are being affected or that read their paper.
Okay.
So one of the things that you brought up is the chaos that's been caused. Well, there was an article written in the New York Times by the Upshot staff. I don't know what that is, but which federal programs are under scrutiny? The budget office named 2,600 programs.
Okay.
So these are just programs that have to answer the question, are they funding programs related to DEI or with the Green New Deal?
Okay.
But to your point, they're probably causing chaos with all of them because their funding is being paused. And we don't know how often they need to get checks from the government, right? I mean, not all of their funding comes from the federal government. I don't think you can be a 501c3 if you don't get money from the public.
Okay. And just all right.
So they're I don't think they're out of business, but they probably are scared. Okay. Which is what you were saying.
Yeah, a lot of fear,
right?
Uncertainty.
So there was an article that says some nonprofits say they still can't access federal funds. This was written by NBC. In this article, there was a board president of a West Virginia nonprofit group that said they've been waiting for federal funds to be deposited into its account. So that the pause, affected them. And they do good things. I'll concede that. The Associated Press put out an article about another nonprofit. There was a CEO that said that they focus on rural coal miners and that their grants were under review. So again, it's not a total denial of their federal funds. I'm sure that there are some of these nonprofits that are going to be cut off because they are scams. Not all of them, but I think that there are probably some scams out there. So how do you respond to my long-winded monologue?
I guess my answer is the same. I think in anything this big, the federal government is huge, right? I'm sure you could find fraud and waste. I can definitely concede that point. I was blissfully unaware until all of this happened that federal workers had somehow become public enemy number one. I was not aware of that.
That's a different issue.
I am kind of switching the issue, but I think my main point is that there are people that are getting affected that probably voted a certain way. And I don't think that we expected all these ripple effects. For example, a farmer in the Midwest that all his crops were being used by USAID to go overseas, for part of that. So now his crops are sitting there and he has no place to. There's just a lot of unintended consequences. And I could maybe even get on board with everybody's. It's a good-hearted thing, to want small government, but it's just that where we're at right now, these things all work together in a very intricate way. You don't just, take these hatchets to things as much as you would want to.
Well,
everything's much more intertwined than people realize.
Here's something that might come of all of this. Maybe the church will step in.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, it's going to be the good people that are going to bear the brunt of this. Yes. So we're going to do plate sales and,
And we'll have lower taxes. And so we'll be able to give more of our hard-earned money to the church.
I don't know how to counter that, but there's something really wrong in that statement. You had texted that to me earlier, and I can't put my finger on that, but I don't like that.
Well,
but yes, of course, I would.
One way that the government could encourage us to give more to nonprofits is to bring back itemized deductions for charitable giving.
Tell me all about that. I want to know all about that.
Well, this is a side issue, but when they raise the standard deduction to $12,000 or more, then you really can't itemize your charitable deductions unless you exceed that. So you have to really be giving a lot, and you can't deduct everything unless you have a very high income.
See, this is not, you know what I really hate? I hate that if I voice some opposition, I'm going to be like you guys have really been trained to just tune me out, oh, she's a loony left. It's not that, I promise. That's the president. I'm on board, I'm an American, let's support our president, but if I raise a valid concern, I think the whole country is just in this knee-jerk reaction of, we're so divided, just left and right. Does that make sense?
Well,
because you know why I say that, Todd? Because I love your idea. I love what you just said right now. And if you were president, I think that's how you would approach it. And it would be small, incremental policy changes that would lead to your stated goal, which is a valuable goal.
Yeah, I just had a thought of us running on the same ticket, but your name is too long. Marquardt and San Antonio Salmon-Haas.
Right.
I think it's funny that I always say San Antonio in your name.
I do too. Yes,
but
I laugh every time.
That's not really in her name. That's just part of her social media presence.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. I just love San Antonio. I should be South Texas, though.
Well, I thought
South
you
Texas.
did it because you were working for the government when you established those accounts.
Good point. Right. I was a little... I went back and forth on whether to put my full name. It's scary to be out there.
I figured they told you not to.
Oh, yeah. No, you can't be. Yeah, you can't be all out there with... Yeah.
Right. Saying all this controversial stuff.
Like, here's my outfit.
Right. Outfit of the day. And my soup.
So what are we running? Are we going to run as libertarians, or what are we going to do?
I think we'll have to leave that to the audience to wonder about. We have to take a break.
Oh.
Stay tuned.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.